for Brandon Allen and the Razorbacks. 4th and 25. It's complete to Henry.
10 years ago, we showed why you fight, why you play 4 quarters, why you play this game.
He's going to take it inside the 15, and he has the first down.
A night game in the SEC. It doesn't get much better than this. A chance to show the grit and the toughness of this team. The same grit and toughness we showed on that day.
Allen takes it, dives, and he is in.
It's etched in our history, the DNA of this program.
The tougher team's going to win.
Mike Washington, 53-yard touchdown, Arkansas, Raylan Sharp.
This is a 60-minute, 4-quarter war.
Keep it on the option right side, he's in the clear.
To show the fight of Arkansas.
Touchdown, Arkansas, Omega Blake leaps over a man.
Hey Razorback fans, and welcome into another episode of our Woo Pig pregame show. I am Tera Talmadge with former Razorback himself, QB, Quinn Grovey. We've got him in the house to talk about this Ole Miss matchup, the first game of SEC play for the Razorbacks. And Quinn, this is a big one. It's an exciting road game for the Hogs.
Yeah, super excited about this game right here. This is the first challenge really for Arkansas in this season. When you look at Alabama A&M, you look at Arkansas State, those are 2 teams that you were supposed to take care of business.
Yes.
The one thing I love about what Arkansas did, they took care of business and they got better from week 1 to week 2. And that's the thing that you really got to be conscious of. But they're going to have to be much better in week 3 to get that first SEC win on the road.
Well, we love heading into this matchup, though. 2-0 on the season. You mentioned their last game. That was a historic game in Little Rock against Arkansas State, Q. And the Hogs came out with a win. They handled business, like you said.
Well, that's big brother versus little brother.
Yep.
I mean, I don't care how old you get, you're always going to beat up your little brother. And so that's what took place, and that's what needed to happen. But it was a great environment. I mean, it was an opportunity for Arkansas State to play against Arkansas in a great environment. And I love the tailgating, War Memorial. The fans were there. It was a great Saturday afternoon, but we did what we needed to do.
Yes.
And that's all I really care about. And now it's time to get serious.
Well, if fans missed any of the action from that game at War Memorial Stadium, our Hawks Plus cameras were there, as always, and you can watch all of the highlights in the new episode of The Follow. We're going to show you a quick clip of some of the action from that game against Arkansas State.
Toughness. The tougher team. You've seen games all sudden. It's close. The tougher team just knocks their ass out. They just knock their ass out, and the game's over. The tougher team's going to win. Everybody understand that? Let's knock that hope out of the world.
It just felt really good. It felt like a normal home game. The fans, they were loud and just, even like the locker room kind of being almost like the center of the stadium. Like when you walk out, all the fans were right there. So it was a real cool experience. It was fun. It was real fun.
Let's go, go, confident all day.
That's it. Be rough. Come on, baby, let's ride.
So here we go. They'll open with Mike Washington in the backfield. Now he goes in motion and sets up in the slot. They leave it empty for Green on first down. Back to throw, short cross, complete. Omega Blake across the 30. Outside the numbers at the 40, first down and more. Blake finally pushed out of bounds up at the 47-yard line. Pistol formation with Washington in the backfield. They toss it to him left side, big hole across midfield. First down and more inside the 40. Outside the numbers at the 30, the 20, the 10. Touchdown Arkansas! Mike Washington, 53 yards, and just like that, the Hogs are on the board.
Well, that was outstanding blocking right there. You go tall sweep right there, but the big fella, Corey Robinson, he ran through the first line of defense and just nobody was around him. He was able to clean up somebody on the second level.
Yeah, I remember we was practicing that play all week, and I just knew once I heard the call, I was gonna be ready. And I just remember coming around the edge and just seeing it open, and I thought he was gonna try to dip the corner, or dip his shoulder underneath. And I seen he was gonna cut me head up. I was like, I gotta make him pay. And I really tried to run through his face.
Quinn, I know you had fun watching Corey make that play. And we had Caden Kittler on the Razorback Daily as well, Arkansas center, and he said, you know what, I was actually busy during that play putting someone else's face in the dirt, so I missed it a little bit.
I absolutely love that because I didn't see that one. I did see Corey take care of business, and when I saw it, I was just like, my God, he just ran straight through that guy. And then when you see the clip, he said, I tried to run straight through his face. I mean, that's violent.
I love it, though.
Oh, it was great. But to see multiple pancakes on a block like that or on a play like that, that's the reason why Mike Washington was able to get to the end zone so fast.
And, you know, hopefully we'll see a little bit of that in this matchup this weekend in Oxford as well, because Quinn, this is a game that kind of has a history of being pretty close, although that wasn't the case last year. Unfortunately, Ole Miss came here to Fayetteville, and they ran it up on us a little bit, Q.
They really did. And it was easy for them to do it.
Yeah.
And, you know, normally Lane Kiffin offense, they want to try to run the football and do a lot of things that way to set up the pass, but we just left guys wide open. And Travis Williams, I know when we had him on the Razorback Daily, he was so upset about that. And he's a great guy. He's got more weapons at his disposal this year. I don't think he'll have to go through that.
Yeah, you said no one is going to be more motivated in this matchup than Travis Williams heading into this one. But I do think that this game has a little extra something to it as well, because we lost several players to Ole Miss during the transfer portal. We had Jalen Braxton, Luke Haas, we had Patrick Kudus. I think all within like 24 hours decided they were going to go to Ole Miss. So I'm not sure if we're going to see any of them in the game, but maybe for the Razorbacks, that gives them a little extra edge.
Well, I mean, they're going to be excited about making sure that they prove that they made the wrong decision.
Yes.
They're going to be like, hey, Arkansas is a great spot. Why would you ever want to leave here to go to Ole Miss and potentially sit on the bench when you could have been here contributing to us? So I think that that's where the motivation is going to come from. A lot of those guys may not even play, and so you may not even get a chance to touch them on the field. But I'm sure if they do get on the field, there's going to be a lot of trash talking taking place, and I'll be watching for that anytime one of those former Razorbacks get on the field.
Well, you know, Talon always has motivation regardless of who they're going up against. A big game for him is always crucial to the Hogs' success. And Sam Pittman actually compared him to offensive coordinator Bobby Petrino. Take a look.
He's thrown 10 touchdown passes. Is that right?
That's right.
10 in 2 games, and he's run the ball well. He runs the offense well. We ask him to do a lot of things, and he's basically Bobby Petrino out on the field, which a year ago he wasn't quite there. And, of course, when we played Ole Miss last time, he was also playing hurt. So we have a lot of faith in Talon Green, which we should. And I think we've gotten better around him to help him out too.
You love hearing that from the head hog, talking about the confidence that he has in his quarterback. And I love that, you know, Petrino has that same confidence in his quarterback as well. That has to make things easier out on the field. What have you seen development-wise from Talon Green from year 1 to year 2?
Well, the one thing, if you compare anybody to a Bobby Petrino, you're talking about an offensive savant. You're talking about a guy who really understands defenses. He has a photographic memory when it comes to play calling and all that type of stuff. So to me, that shows that the mental game of Talon Green is growing by leaps and bounds. But when I look at Talon, first of all, I look at him physically and I see he's bigger, he's stronger. And when you're a dual threat quarterback and you're going to take those hits in the SEC, you've got to be big and physically strong to be able to adapt to that. I love that. But his pre-snap read alignment, what he's doing at the line of scrimmage is really grown. I love walking to the line of scrimmage, him identifying the mic, him identifying the protection, him identifying what the coverage is trying to do to him. Those are the things that will allow him to be mentally prepared. And then if something happens physically, we know he can get out of trouble. I love that aspect of it. But, I mean, I could go on and on about what he's doing. I mean, he's just been so good just navigating and being decisive in his decisions. Last year, he was more focused on Andrew Armstrong. This year, he's going through his progressions, and his progressions are leading him to a lot of different receivers, which Intel is showing that we're passing it to a multitude of receivers, and they're having a lot of success with run after the catch. His accuracy is off the charts. So Talon is grown a lot of different ways. I could talk about him all day long and what he's doing that's making him a whole lot better quarterback. But at the end of the day, those three things right there are the things that are really taking him to the next level and getting him what should be the national attention that he's getting, but he's not getting. He was on Sports Center the other day, so that's a good start.
We're making progress.
Yeah, but he's a guy that I think is one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and I think he'll continue to show it, and this will be his big opportunity to do that.
What do you think of him hurdling a guy at that Arkansas State game? I can't believe I haven't asked you about this
Well,
before.
I love the athletic ability. I love what Talon does athletically, and it showed. He hurled, and then I love Bobby Petrino tweeting out the picture of Lamar Jackson, who won the Heisman Trophy, and Talon Green, both hurling guys. I can promise you though, Sam Pittman, Bobby Petrino, they don't want those guys to do it. They don't want them to do it.
Get to the sideline.
Yeah, I want you to protect yourself, and that's the thing about Talon is, if he's not available, then he's not going to be able to help you. So. If I had to say one thing about Talon that I want him to do a little bit better, it's protecting himself. It's like getting out of bounds. Run 7 yards. I know you may need 9, but let's get 7 in some of those games and get out of bounds. But like in an SEC football game, if it's required to get 9, then you're going to stick your head in there and do that. But protect yourself when you can. Live to fight another day because we need you on every single snap.
Absolutely. Well, Arkansas alum Taylor McGregor, who also works for ESPN right now, she is going to be sidelined for this matchup between Arkansas and Ole Miss. And we had the chance to have her on the Razorback Daily, talk about the matchup, give us her thoughts on how the Hogs are going to fare in this one. Here's what she had to say.
I think Arkansas's defensive line has an advantage over Ole Miss's offensive line. And people talk about some of the additions that they made. I wasn't that impressed with what I saw from them in Lexington on Saturday, I'm going to be honest. And I think a year ago, that was a real big disappointment with Ole Miss and the pressure that opposing defenses were able to get on the quarterback. And so, if Arkansas can expose that again, and if that is a weak spot for Ole Miss again, there you go. That's it. That's another huge way to win this game. And of course, we always talk about turnovers, doesn't matter what game. And Austin Simmons couldn't protect the football at times on Saturday in Lexington. And so can they force turnovers and win the turnover margin? That's another huge one for the Hogs. It's funny. It's always the same stories. It's just a matter of executing it for different teams.
I love hearing Taylor say that, Arkansas might have a bit of an edge coming into this one against Ole Miss. Q, what do you think about it?
I think so, too. When I look at this football game, I think Arkansas offensively is really, really strong. And I think Ole Miss's defense is not as strong as it was last year. So I think Arkansas will have an advantage there. And then I think our defense has gotten a whole lot better. So I think we're better on the corners. So I don't think we'll be giving up as many pass plays as we did last year. I think we're more experienced at the safety position. But when you look at Ole Miss is going to be a run-centric team. Don't let Lane Kiffin fool you. He's a guy that wants to run the football, but they're looking for explosive plays in the run game and in the pass game, and it all starts with quarterback Austin Simmons. He's a guy that's very athletic. He can throw it, but he's had a lot of trouble early on this season really trying to process and understand what defenses are trying to do to him. But what they want to do is turn around and hand the football to their running back, Kejuan Lacey. He's a guy that carried the football 28 times versus Kentucky last week. That's a lot of carries in the SEC football game. I don't know if he'll be able to continue that, but we'll see how that happens. But when you look at what Ole Miss wants to do on the outside, it's going to come down to Harrison Wallace. That's their big play receiver on the outside. He's a guy that really wants to try to make plays. So our cornerbacks will have to make sure they're in tune. But then defensively, they just want to get after you. Pete Golding is one of the best defensive coordinators in the country. He's a guy that's going to be more aggressive. He's going to run a 4-2-5 scheme. They're going to try to be very, very aggressive. They're going to try to do a bunch of line stunts. So the communication from Arkansas's offensive line is going to be critical in regards to having success.
Well, you mentioned the quarterback Simmons for Ole Miss, and Lane Kiffin actually talked a little bit about some of his early struggles in his press conference this week.
I think, and usually coming back home, I'll say, again, that was his first road start, and we have high expectations for our players, but, first road starts in any level, including the NFL, guys sometimes struggle early. So I think coming back home would be good and want him to take care of the ball, but and not feel rushed when it's not there. There were times in that game early I felt like because we were getting beat on some good rushes early, he started to feel that even when it wasn't there. So just calming him down. I think in that game, we played that game maybe differently than we would have a year ago, as we got the lead and running the ball more and less passes in those situations. But also Austin also made some big plays prior to the fourth quarter. We only had one pass attempt, I think, in the fourth quarter. But, like the fourth one, he's throwing the 2 interceptions and makes a big throw on 4th and 1 in our territory down 10-0. So he did some good things. And there's 2 times, just like the game before, now it's 2 games in a row where one of his interceptions is, a lot of pressure right here in his face as he releases the ball. That'll affect any quarterback.
So as you heard Kiffin there, he just wants his quarterback to really kind of settle in, settle down, don't feel rushed when it's not there, Q.
Well, and that's what we talk about. Like I said, don't be fooled by Lane Kiffin. He wants to run the football. Best way to settle down a quarterback, turn around and hand it off to a running back and have success. And so Arkansas is going to have to be really good there.
Well, it is an SEC matchup. It's going to be a good game. Q, what are your keys to the game?
To me, it's very simple. Outside of the real critical keys of turning it over and things like that, Arkansas's offensive line is going to be the key for me. I think Arkansas's offense is going to score at a high clip. So if they can win the battle in the run game, in the trenches, if they can protect Taylor and keep him clean, Arkansas is going to score points in bunches. Here's the other thing. If they don't do that, if they win just a portion of half of the battles, we got playmakers on the outside who really understand how to win in tight situations. So I still believe that Arkansas has the advantage offensively with the playmakers, but if the offensive line takes care of business, Arkansas is really going to score a whole lot of points and be in a good spot. Defensively, it's going to come down to run fits. It's going to come down to Arkansas's linebackers really having great run fits. It's going to come down to Arkansas's defensive front with great gap integrity, making sure they hit the right gap, doing what they need to do to stop Ole Miss's run game. If they can do that and put the pressure on Austin Simmons, now there's a different kind of game that you got to start thinking about. Okay, how do we show pressure and drop out? How do we bring pressure? How do we confuse him? Because if he cannot turn around and hand the football off, then that's a problem for him. Now we put him in a situation where he's got to make a lot of decisions. And so if our defensive front can make sure we put him in bad situations, force him to make bad decisions, I believe our secondary will have a good day.
Well, Sam Pittman said earlier this week that Arkansas has not been tested in the way that they're going to get tested in Oxford this weekend. So I know it's going to be a good matchup. I'm excited to see what this team is made of, Q.
This is it.
It's a night game, 6 p.m. kickoff. You can watch that game on ESPN. And of course, Quinn and I will be back here next week with another episode of our Woo Pig pregame show. But everyone, enjoy the game, and we'll see you back here next week.